Welcome to September and Monday's Admissions from the Heart. Today we're going to talk about whether something is fact or fiction. All right, in the social media world, specifically right now, Facebook and some other ones, but Facebook is really one of the bigger culprits. There's always lots of information. And there's lots of information on the internet too, a lot of information on the internet. But we have a tendency to look at some of this stuff and take it as fact. But I don't know why people just take things as fact instead of checking it out. One thing I want to look at is just the situation about the school bus. You saw the school bus on the front page. That was me at an event where I got to ride a school bus as an adult. I never did that as a kid, and so I got a chance to really ride a school bus for an event, for a seniors event. But lately, there's been this social media message about yellow school buses that's been going around. It's a um, message that's been around for several years, since 21, and actually further back than that. It's just that it's one of those messages that comes in and out, comes in and out. It goes away and then it comes in again because people forget that it's out there. But this particular one has been talking about the black lines on the three black lines on the buses, on all buses. I never even thought about they were all look the same, other than, yeah, they're yellow. I never thought about the black lines and all that kind of stuff. And people are so excited about learning something new about what those black lines are about. The the message that has been talking about this darn bus. I'm just having a great time rambling here, but the buses are. I've been having a crazy day. I'm actually a little tired, but we need to get this done. It's Monday's Admissions of the Heart. And I just prayed for, okay, God, give me the strength because now I'm kind of slap happy because I'm getting tired. I had a crazy 3 days of my class reunion, and now I'm like, okay, it's Monday. And I had another crazy day, which had nothing to do with the class reunion. So, anyway, so let's get back to these darn buses. Let me stay focused. So anyway, those black lines, according to the message on social media, stands for that the lower black line is the floor of the bus. The line in the middle is where the bottom of the seats are in the bus, and then the top line is where the top of the seats are. And supposedly, when those line, if the bus is in an accident, the paramedics, the emergency fire department know where to cut to get people out of the bus. So everybody's like, wow, this is so cool news to know. Now, I don't know why this particular one, I thought, oh, it's kind of cool too, but don't ask me why, because for some reason I needed to check it out. I don't know why. So I checked Snoops.com because I always go to Snoops.com every time I hear anything that possibly could be untrue or don't sound right or I don't know. But this Snoops.com, I've used it for years, especially in the beginning of the internet when we were really inundated with stuff and people were posting stuff on Facebook. It was like, really, that is nowhere near true. So this Snoops says that those green lines, the black lines are road rails, can't even read, that add, wow, that add structure and strength to the bus. And they may happen to be where the floor is, where the seats are, but those aren't really exact indicators. And there's no information that emergency training members, crews actually train to do that. They don't have that information that, paramedics, fire department, whoever, police department, anybody actually put that in their training to follow those darn lines. They just maybe just happen to be there. So the purpose of me even bringing this up, I know this picture is not the inside of a school bus. Kids probably would love it because this bus looks really good. This is probably more like a train or a subway bus, or it's definitely not a school bus. That other picture before was a real school bus. I just like the picture, so don't think that's what school buses look like. It's like, oh no, they're not cushiony, they're hard, they're black. Oh, they're just have any handrails like this thing has at all, and they're not. Yep, nope. So you probably would like to have them like more comfortable, and there's no seatbelts. Anyway, so the issue I'm trying to bring up is I don't know, this looked like it could have been true. People will think, well, why would I not disbelieve? Why would I even want to check every single thing you do want to check every single thing because there's so much information out there. You don't want to just pass on an untruth. And a lot of people have been. So this thing has several thousand, what do you call it? Not likes, but viewings or people looking at this thing, and then all kinds of a lot sharings too. So people are being passed out this information. I mean, it's like, okay, this is a trivial bit of information. Like it's a price that was not harming anybody. So what? Who cares about the lines? The misinformation about the lines? What's the big deal? The big deal is this is small, but there are other things that are big, and people are taking them as fact and passing them on and not checking it out. Just because the person or whoever you got this information from looks like they're authoritative or it looks real, don't mean it is. We need to be able to check anything before we pass that information or before we take that information in our heads as fact. We need to find out if it's true. And like I said, this Snoops.com is a excellent place to go to make sure it's a fact and not fiction. Make sure it's a fact and not fiction. All right, so back in October 2023, yeah, this was before I started doing the YouTube videos. I had a car accident in October 23, and it was a T-bone accident. The guy ran the red light and ran into me. Thank goodness I was in this Jeep right here, because and he was in a lower car, so I didn't have any real serious injuries. But at the time, we had to make sure that I didn't, because we could tell my knee was bleeding, and we couldn't see what else was going on, especially since I was fully clothed. So, and I could tell my head was feeling a certain kind of way. My concern was at the time that I was having a concussion, because you get kind of tossed around in the car because that car is facing that way, and I was going in a totally different direction. So my car get pushed in a direction into oncoming traffic then, instead of me going across traffic. So anyway, I was taken away in the ambulance, and they took me to the hospital, blah blah blah, and they did what they had to do at the hospital. So this is October. I've been waiting for this big bill because anytime you get any ambulance services are expensive, and anytime you have an ambulance bill, 9 times out of 10, the insurance company may or may not cover the full amount. So I was waiting to find out, well, how much is my deductible, and what do I have to pay for? And it never came. Like okay, after a while, I started kind of forgetting about it because I got other things to do. And why would I call up? I don't even know who I would have called to find out. I guess the city that did the ambulance service, but why would I call to say, do I owe you a bill? I was like, who does that? No, nobody. I didn't either. So anyway, so then back in June of this year, 2024, which is what, maybe 8 months later? Yeah, 8 months later or so. Then I get this call. They didn't talk to me. I missed the call. There was some kind of message from some company saying, give us a call. We have some questions about the accident you had in the ambulance service. Something about what city was it in or something like that. Because the reason why I vaguely remember because of whatever. So I tried to call them, couldn't get them, because I'm thinking, they needed information. Because I'm thinking, okay, it's about time you're going to send me a bill because here it is this month longer. What are you waiting for? Like, come on, to get this information. And so I left some kind of message, didn't hear no more from them. And then I got a call just last week actually. Got a call. I don't know if it's the same company because, like I said, I don't even know who the first company was. And they said something about, we need to talk to you about your ambulance account. I'm like, oh, my ambulance account, okay. Still, now 10 months later, you call about this ambulance account. So I'm like, wow, what's it taking you so long to call me just to tell me I owe money for this ambulance? Because I know I should have the service, so I should owe the money if my insurance don't fully cover it. But I hadn't seen nothing in my side of the insurance company because I looked and there was no claims that went to the insurance company, because usually when I can go into online, I can see they got a bill from Joe Smo, they paid X, I owe whatever, or I owe nothing. So I ain't get nothing. I haven't seen anything to say that they even got a claim and that I owe anything or nothing at all. So in August, I was like, well, that's interesting. I haven't seen anything from the insurance company. I'm like, I don't know what that means. So for some reason, bells start ringing in my head, only because it sounded one. I'm wondering why it's taking so long. Why it's taking so long. Granted, I know things take a long time sometimes. People, personnel. We're in a time after the pandemic where we got low staffing, blah blah blah. Everybody's always blaming their issues on we don't have enough people, and rightfully so because a lot of people are gone. So our work staff is definitely not where it used to be before 2020. Actually, before 2019. So yeah. So I said, okay, let me. Only reason why I had a question is because I did, I guess you would say, a due diligence. I researched the phone number that they called from, and I researched the phone number that they left to call me back on. It was a toll free number that they left, and then the number that they called from. And when I did that, there was no company tied to it. The local number was from a call in Akron. So, okay, that's interesting. I'm thinking, oh yeah, subcontractors could be any location. And then the 800 number was out of Texas, and it had no name at all. It's just both of them had the server's name, but that's about it. But no company name. I'm like, oh, that's weird. Why you have no company name? Just this random name and server with server X, and your locations is in this state or city. So okay, whatever. So I also recalled during this year, because I was talking about this, probably this ambulance issue with somebody, I can't remember, it was somebody from church or wherever it was, but they were telling me that, and I had been in an ambulance situation when I was at work. One time I had a situation where they had to take me from work to an ambulance, and I remember, um, and I was, yeah, vaguely what happened on that one. I ended up paying whatever the deductible was or something, and it didn't sound like it was a lot. I don't even remember because it was so long ago. It was because I was still working. I mean, so it was this like decades ago, and who knows what was going on then compared to now. As far as ambulance services is nothing expensive. I just know I didn't have to pay a lot for that last time. So I'm waiting. So the red bell, the flags went off because I remember this person saying that they had had two situations. One, they had an accident in another city, and another time they had an accident in their own city. And when they were in the other city, they got charged. When they were in their city, they didn't get charged. And I'm like, oh, I wonder if our city's like that. Because just because city A does that doesn't mean my city does that. So I said, let me call the city because since they're the source, they're the ones that the service should come from. I want to make sure that maybe this is their subcontract and it was okay because there's so many scammers out there. So I called them, and the first thing they asked me was, "Are you a resident?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, we don't charge the residents, so you're not gonna get a bill." I'm like, what? Okay. So I mean, this is definitely a scam. So I'm thinking, wow, if I hadn't called to check to make sure that the city actually was charging me, because usually we get a bill, you get something in the mail saying, okay, your insurance company didn't fully cover and you owe blah, blah, blah. And I hadn't got any of that stuff because I'm a resident of the city. They don't charge the residents. It's free. So with the scammer, apparently, and they've probably done it with other people, it's a good scam, I'm telling you, is most people wouldn't know that. They just know, okay, I had ambulance service. I should owe something. Where's the bill? So I can pay it or pay it over time or however you want to work this out. I'd like to know how they were going to do that. What are they going to pay it over time? I can't imagine they want to do that. They probably want you to pay it all at once. So I'm wondering if the bill would have been in a reasonable zone so you could pay it once as opposed to, oh my gosh, there's several $1,000s. It's going to take you forever. You'll never get any money. It's like, I bet they'll say, well, $10,000, but we'll give you $200. I don't know. I would love to know how far that might have gone, as far as going. So this is another thing of checking out things when it looks like, because red flags was going off in my head, and I can't really tell you why. It just wasn't feeling right. It wasn't sounding right. And then when I did the check on the phone numbers, that just really like, oh wait, hold up, because they actually said their company was blah blah blah, whatever that was, and the number it didn't tie to any of their phone numbers. So I'm just glad I made that phone call before any personal information was given out. And that's how scammers work. They get their personal information. Next thing you know, you owe them money, or they're taking money from your account, whatever. Yeah, something. So be real careful when you hear people contact you about something that's really happening. Because think about the ambulance service. When you have a car accident, that's public record. Anybody can see who had this accident, what their names are, what their address is, how much, who their insurance company is, on and on and on. All this stuff is in a police report, and they just take that information and run with it. So this scammer here, unlike the ambulance chasers, because ambulance chasers, they're a business, they're trying to do what they have to do and just work this cold market. I get that in a way, even though it's very annoying, because it was really annoying having them call me about this accident. But these guys are scamming you because they want to go on assumption. They want to pick people that live in a city that will not be charged, because the people nine times out of 10 don't know their city won't charge unless you're active in your city, know this, go to council meetings, blah blah blah. Most people won't know that. It's like, oh, okay, I got ambulance service, I got paid. No, this was just a random conversation, and then this is how they can rip people off, because you had a service, you got to pay for it. So my point in bringing this up is always, always, always be aware of what's going on. Because when things don't sound right, it's like something in your body, in your spirit, will tell you this is not cool. Even though you can't even say, I had a feeling because of this. Because to me, it just knew that something wasn't quite right. I don't know if it was the billing late or whatever. Granted, I had heard this person, because that's why I was talking to the person, saying, wondering what's going on, blah blah blah, and then they said, well, you probably don't owe anyway because it was in your city, and I'm like, really? Oh, okay, really? Okay, well, we'll see, because I'm not gonna contact the city and ask them, and then all of a sudden I'm getting these phone calls, and I'm saying, oh, maybe I do owe. So when your spirit starts saying something, check it out. Check it out. So if in situations where it's a spiritual situation, where people tell all kind of stories, or not stories, they tell factual stories. And I'm sure you've heard people say, okay, that was in the Bible, this and that, whatever it is. I wish I could think of an example. It's just driving me crazy. Because people always say, well, that's in the Bible. And they'll just spit off some verbiage, and it sounds cool, because it sounds like, wow, it sounds like verbiage that would come out of the Bible. But do we open our Bible to make sure that whatever this person said is true? I mean, this is usually a person that's just one-on-one with you, talking about whatever's going on. They'll say, well, in the Bible it says blah, blah, blah. So do you say, okay, hold up, let me get my Bible real quick and see where's that at, and talk about it, as opposed to, oh, okay, cool, I'll accept that fact, unless you know that's a fact. But my point is, if someone gives you something and it even sounds like, really? Because there is a lot of stuff in the Bible that sounds like, really? And then you look at it, wow, that's really true. Or, wow, there's nothing in the Bible about that at all. I do have an example, but I don't want to talk about it because it would be talking about this other religion, and that's a whole nother topic in itself. I was like, where y'all get that from? It's not in the Bible. So, ooh. But anyway, so let's all be like the Berean Jews, who were of more noble character than those in Thessalonica. I don't know if I butchered that. Thessalonica, for they received the message with great eagerness and examined the scriptures every day, to see if what Paul said was true. Now, Paul was the man. I mean, the way he preached, the way he suffered for God, he was the man. Yet they checked their scriptures every day to make sure what he said was true. We're all human. We're flawed. We say something wrong. We misquote, that kind of stuff. He was human. Could make a mistake. So they're still checking it out to make sure what he said is true. And that's how we should be doing with our ministers and anybody else speaking from the pulpit, speaking from across the table in front of you, whatever. When they're saying scriptures, have your Bible open and say, "Oh, okay, cool. I agree," or whatever. Thank you for informing me about that. Let's just be like Bereans. Don't accept anything either spiritually or there's like those other two examples which had nothing to do with the Bible, because those people will lead you astray. Either they're going to take you away from God spiritually, or they're going to take something from you, like your money, your identity, something, because they're trying to lead you astray. And then the false information that you see on the internet, like the bus situation, because there's a ton of more mother, because I used to see a whole lot more back in the day. And I think maybe I got a little slack myself. And then I saw that bus thing. So, okay, well, I got to start paying attention to myself to make sure that if I forward something in Facebook or any other social media I'm on, to make sure it's facts first before you pass it on. Because you just never know. Because even some of the weirdest things like pictures or, oh wow, they're showing this beautiful bird. And then you look up and find out, oh, that's some kind of Photoshop thing. Because pictures tell 1,000 words, but it's the picture of truth. So that's all we're talking about. It's about whether it's fact or fiction. Make sure you just be in your P's and Q's for those things in the world, for those people in the world that's trying to lead you astray. So next week, we'll talk about something else on our second Monday. And it's just a crazy day, people. So I'm writing an excuse. I'm just like out of the loop. So see you later. Have a great day.